Welcome to this edition of Mindset Profits, and today I have the ultimate hookup for someone. Have you ever been told that it's important to have multiple income streams and you don't know how to go about that? You don't know how to get started. I have the one and only Witness Mdaka today, author of It's More Than Just Money, a friend who has made it his life's mission to go around the country, to go around the continent, I don't know about the globe, but educating people on how to create multiple streams of income, how to get out of the rat race, and how to invest in property. He has hundreds of thousands of followers, and he started just around COVID. So he's done all of the stuff that he's doing in a very short time. And he's been an inspiration to me. He's one of the brothers. Actually, he is the main person that pushed me back into social media at a time when I actually did not want to. So, my brother, how are you?
Yeah, what an introduction.
You are a giver.
What an introduction, man.
You share openly. It's like you enjoy watching people do well.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, Ntando, and your team. Can I just give a shout out to you and to your team for the amazing work that you are doing with Mindset Profits. Congratulations on reaching 1,000 subscribers.
Thank you.
Big ups to the team. May the channel keep growing. Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, we all have a purpose. Something that we feel on the inside of us that we should be pursuing, you know. And for me, I think I'm at my happy place when I share knowledge with someone. I think it must be, maybe perhaps I've got the gift of teaching, because people do say that when I talk about certain subjects, I simplify them.
You simplify. I've seen that too.
Yeah, so I take complicated subjects within the business, property, fraternity, and then simplify them for the everyday person to understand. I'll give you an example. One of my best testimonies that I've had, I've had hundreds of testimonies, if not thousands, right? But one of my best is this lady. We're still in talks now. I'm not going to mention her name, but she works for the municipality, City of Joburg. So,
okay.
Long story short, during COVID, she contacts me and says to me that, Witness, I didn't know that I could afford a property with an 8,000 rand salary. You know, I didn't know that I could also be considered by the bank if I just try my luck. So I read your book. I've bought a property and I've read your book and I've rented out this property. I'm continuing to stay at home with my parents and my kids, but my property is now rented out, right? And then she writes to me again a year later, and she says to me, I've managed to save over 60,000 rands.
Wow.
And I want to buy my second property. You know, I just want to thank you for what you've done for me. Then she says she buys a second property, right? Couple of months later, I don't know if it was a year, she writes to me again. She shows me, she sends me pictures of a house she's building now at the village where she comes from. And she says to me, now I've learned to start even if I don't have the full amount of money. I'm going to figure out how to finish a house that I'm building for my kids. I never thought I'd build my kids a house. Let alone the fact that I've got properties that I've now rented out that are giving me income. This year, when we had the pop-up store at Mall of Africa, when we were doing the podcast, she came dressed in black, looking super good, eh? And then she comes to me, we start chatting, and she's like, you know, at work now, people borrow money from me. So it's now a business that I have at work where even managers and executives are coming to me. People who drive bigger cars. I don't have a car. People who drive big cars, they come to me as their mashonesa. And I lend them money. Loan shark.
That's a side hustle now.
She's now a loan shark at work. People are borrowing money from her. So I look at that lady and I'm like, sometimes you might think you are just sharing content. You might think you are just writing a book. But literally, you are changing someone's life and perspective. And perhaps generations after her will do things differently because she did things differently. I mean, she thought of herself as what? Just a cleaner. But it turns out she's not just a cleaner. Now she's somebody who could invest in property, continue to work, enjoy a better, fulfilling life because she's fulfilling some things that give fulfillment. Once you do a project, coach, and you finish it, the level of fulfillment becomes different for you. You're not the same guy. I can tell you that when a guy says he's unhappy most of the time, when we check, that guy has not had projects in his personal or business life that he can conquer and get the fulfillment that comes from doing things excellently. Right? So I look at that lady, I'm like, wow, her fulfillment now is in the fact that she's got properties that she invested in. She saw herself making that sacrifice. Remember, no one was holding her hand. She read a book. She read posts. But the action taking, that she did all on her own. So the level of fulfillment that I can just perceive and imagine, and the level of happiness that was in her eyes when she saw me for the first time and narrating these stories. And it's funny, the minute she said, it's so-and-so, I knew exactly who this lady was because I had read her testimonies quite a few times. So for me, that's where the fulfillment also for me comes from, because when I look at the lady, I'm like, that's my project. I'm like, what? No, she did that. But I inspired all of that to happen. Wow.
No, man.
God, I'm privileged.
It's the life that you chose to live. You're doing God's work. You're well within ministry. This is ministry.
So that's where the happiness for me, honestly, comes from. Yeah, comes from. I think, yes, money can be one of the things, right, that form part of wealth.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It is one of the things that form part of wealth. But to pursue some kind of work and pursue it excellently, that's you producing wealth for yourself. When you do this work that you are doing now,
you
are doing interviews, you're building a channel, you're building a platform.
Yeah.
The level of fulfillment that you're going to get when people meet you on the streets and say, my business life changed ever since I came across your channel. People in other countries where they see you and they come to you and say, you changed my life. No amount of money can buy that. But other than that, that becomes a vocation that puts you at a level where you're going to continue to earn because you chose to do something and do it excellently.
That's true, because I've been getting DMs from other countries and I'm thinking, I didn't even know people listen to us.
Of course they do. Remember one thing.
No, right? You might conceptually know that it probably happens, but when it happens to you, it's a fresh feeling.
Yes.
So there's people outside of Africa that are listening.
Of course. So someone might be listening now. They don't have a channel. They don't have a podcast. They don't have a book like you and I do.
Yeah.
It's more than just money. Welcome to financial freedom. They might not have those books. However, they've got their jobs that they go to every single day. What's their level of excellence? Because your level of performance and excellence speaks to who you are as a person. You're not doing that for your boss. You're doing it for yourself. How much can you challenge yourself?
The standards you've set for yourself.
What standards have you set for yourself? So for me, it's always been about that from an early age. Well, as soon as I got in the understanding, right, to say, am I proud of the person I'm becoming because of the work that I'm doing? When you make your first million, for instance, you'll never be the same. Never. I'm not saying when you win it or when you get it from somewhere.
When you
make it. And you
Because
know.
the process of getting to it, Baba.
When you know, I know how to make $1 million. You never become the same guy again. Trust me. From zero. And being that guy that's got the capacity to make $1 million. That guy that's got the capacity to make $1 million and the guy that's still at zero, 2 different guys. The level of thinking, the level of mindset, the level of pain sometimes that you go through.
And resilience that you build.
Makes you a different individual altogether. You cannot make $1 million and remain the same guy.
And the beautiful part about being that guy is even when you lose that $1 million, now you have the confidence to get it.
In actual
all over
fact,
again.
you never lose it. You never lose it. Because the skill never goes away. So when they say he made $1 million, he lost it. No. Money is just a scorecard that fluctuates.
Yeah.
But the capacity to make it remains the same.
Nice take.
The capacity never changes. It only gets better as you do. Like now, you've got other businesses.
Yeah.
You know the amount of money that this platform is going to produce for you in years to come. Do you think we're just sitting here and having conversations just for nothing? Wait 4, 5, 6 years if you're consistent and see the amount of money that's going to be coming to you for owning
Off
this
the
channel.
platform.
Like, mark my words now.
I am.
Because there's no work that can be done and it goes unnoticed and it goes without making money.
I have learned since I met you to listen to you when it comes to these things. So you know what? I was telling a couple of friends of mine, I was saying Witness is coming. And they're saying, but he was there. No, I don't work like that. I mean, I've got topics that I want to teach and I want to find some good people to teach them. And Witness is the best at this because today we want to talk about how to get started with property investing as the woman that you just gave us a testimony.
Yeah.
But I said, you know what? For this one, it's selfish a bit. Now I want some free coaching. I'm thinking about property and I thought, let me get some free mentorship. Hurry, it's a podcast. Because this is your game, man. You are good at this. So when you look at people thinking about investing in property, maybe let's jump into that. And we'll get into parts of the book as well. What misconceptions do you see people having that stop them from investing in property in the first place?
Yeah, you see, I love that because I love how you phrased it.
Yeah.
Because in the book, there's a chapter called The Misconceptions of Property Investing.
Yep.
You know, and some of the misconceptions is that you need to have millions to start investing in property. Some of the misconceptions are that you need to have all the knowledge to invest in property. Listen, a lot of people own properties. Where you come from, where you stay, don't you realize how many homeowners are there?
They're everywhere.
But not all of them are able to monetize those homes. And what do I mean by monetize? When you own a home, right, your primary home,
Yeah.
a lot of people say it's not an asset. But can I tell you, they're talking nonsense. You know why I say they're talking nonsense? They're talking nonsense because when somebody has a home and you are renting, I'll give you an example. Take 2 guys. One guy is renting for 20 years. The other guy is owning. Both guys die. On basic level, both guys die. Who has left an asset?
Someone had equity building.
No, let's
Someone
leave
zero
equity. Leave that language of equity. We'll get to it. Leave equity. A home.
Yeah.
One person is renting. One person is owning their home. They both die. Between them, who has left an asset?
The one owning leaves a house behind. The one renting gets kicked out.
Okay, so if the kid takes that property, because remember nowadays, right, there's insurance that covers when you die,
even if you haven't paid
it
off.
pays off the bond. So both guys die. Right? Who has left an asset?
The one who was owning. Or at least working towards ownership.
So why is it not an asset?
No, it's semantics. And I like that you bring that up.
Yeah, it's a simple thing, right? So if a kid can take that property and sell it and get money, of course it's an asset. What are you talking about? Are you going to sell a rental home? When you die, you are kicked out, my man. Your kid is no longer going to be able to stay there. But it doesn't...
You know partly where it comes from. I think it's rich dad, poor dad. The whole house is not an asset.
You guys like listening to Americans about everything. That's the problem. Use common sense. Let's take that same house.
Yeah.
Right? I said use common sense, right? Mm-hmm. So you've got a business and you've got a home that you own. You've been paying the home for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. The area where you are, fortunately for you, you chose a good area. Mm-hmm. The area is appreciating in value because good things are happening to the area. There's development, there's shopping centers coming up, good schools are in the area.
Yeah.
Your home goes up in value. And you want to buy a business or a franchise. Then you go to the bank and say, can you reevaluate my home to see how much it's worth right now? To find that the home is no longer worth $1 million, it's worth 1.5 million.
Which it will over time and as you
So which means automatically you've got equity of 500,000 rands in that home. You can do a refinancing structure. Mm-hmm. Within 2 weeks, the bank will have paid 500,000 rands into your account tax-free because it's a loan. Mm. You don't get taxed on debt.
Mm.
It gets paid into your account tax-free, right? And then you take that money, reinvest it into growing your business so that you can make more money. Now, how is that not an asset? Now, tell me, the guy who's renting, is he going to be able to refinance a property that doesn't belong to him? I think it all goes back to understanding, right? So if you immediately close off your thinking and say it's not an asset, then your thinking is closed off. There's nothing that you can think around that particular asset. I'm able to say this, coach, right? My mother built back rooms at home. You know the story. She built back rooms at home, right? Why? Because she owned the house. Number one, that's how she was able to build back rooms on it. She owns it. Number two, she had overpaid it by 150,000 rands. So she bought the house in 1990. I don't know whether she was paying more into a bond. By the year 2006, 2007, she had overpaid it. She took out the 150, built back rooms at home. She even bought me a Toyota Corolla RXi at the time. Why was she able to do that? There was a home that now became an asset. She had equity in the home. She took the money out, built back rooms. Now we're moving from equity to cash flow. Those back rooms were now producing cash flow. Right? Cash flow. So it went from an asset that has got equity, because asset is something you put on a balance sheet. Let's leave semantics. Right? And it can grow in value or depreciate, whatever the case is. But in this case, here's a black woman looking at that property and saying, okay, I didn't know I had equity. Yes, now I've got equity. Let's make the property better. So let's make it a cash flow producing property. Now that property is producing cash flow positive for her. You know what else she did? So I looked after those back rooms, right? And I was paying my fees. Do you know that equity continued to grow there? And when we would need, because now she was aware that she can withdraw from the bond. When I would need extra money to cover certain things on the fees, she would go make an appointment. Back then, you'd make an appointment with the bank. Would go to Joburg, Harrison Street, at Standard Bank there. There's two. There's Simmons, there's Harrison. I was a young guy, 18. I drive there. What are we going to do there? No, we're going to ask about the property, how much money we can get from it. Now she's aware. She's excited. We get there. She withdraws money from a bond account because she's got a bond and she's paying, and it's appreciating in value. The money is paid into her account. We take that money, even if it's 10,000, even if it's 20,000, it's money readily available. And she didn't close a bond account, by the way. Even after she overpaid, she paid the house. She continued.
Can you tell
to debit.
someone as you continue there what the benefit of that is? The ability to withdraw and interest. I'm sure there is a benefit of
Forced
keeping
saving. Let me tell you, one thing people don't understand about a bond, right? We talked about asset, right? Something called forced saving, in a sense that when you have a bond that you are paying every month, that debit order must go off.
By force.
By force, right? And you have capacity in years to come to sell the house and recoup all your repayments. Or to refinance the house if it's gone up in value, to take back some cash that you can use for other things. That's a false saving. And it's saving that has capacity to give you more than you paid for it. Why would that not be an asset?
Which is a big deal because a lot of people struggle to save, to find the discipline to save in the first place.
You are renting. One, you are renting. Whatever you're paying to your landlord. You know which people I think must rent?
Yeah.
People who've got businesses that are running at a high capacity.
Explain the difference.
Let me show you the difference. Right. If you don't have capacity to start and grow in a business, buy a house. You've got your first saving. You've got capacity to buy a second home, a third home, whatever the case is. We're talking basics. Right. You don't have any entrepreneurial skills. You are renting for 20 years. How are you going to generate the money that you are renting with?
Okay.
When you have entrepreneurial skills, right? So, or you've got multiple tenants that are paying you rent. You've rented out all your other properties. You're focused on your vocation, which is property investing. Then you've got capacity to rent any nice house you want to rent. Why? You're not the one paying for it. It's the tenants paying for it. That's the difference.
That's smart.
The problem is that we want to take entrepreneurial advice and give it to people that are employees, and take employees' advice and give it to people that are entrepreneurs. And a combination of both, like I demonstrated in the beginning, as an entrepreneur. Of course, you must buy sometimes the home that you are living in if it's not overly expensive. Then it allows you to build up equity in it. Okay. So that later when you want to invest in some projects, all you have to do is look at your home. What's the value? What's the equity? How much can I withdraw from that? How much can I get for refinancing my property? Refinancing is basically equity release, right? Take that money out, invest it in a project that's going to generate more money for you. Or you are deciding, I'm an entrepreneur. I want rent because I don't need to be doing forced saving and putting my money away. I need to be investing my money in my business. Then you rent.
Okay.
Where your business, as it grows, will afford to pay you that. The first few years. Your business grows in value because you are reinvesting all your money into your business. Then your business, when you're at the capacity where you can afford to buy or build a home that you like in any area you like, you do that.
Okay.
But you don't start with and the thing is that's why it might sound contradictory, because I once said, which I still believe, I don't believe in owning a primary home.
Okay.
But you must understand, you are not owning a primary home, but you are reinvesting in other properties that are producing cash flow. Because the focus is cash flow. How do I grow my cash flow? Once the cash flow is grown comfortably, you get a family home where your kids can get married in the backyard if they want to.
Because it's not you paying.
One, because it's not you paying. Two, because it's what your heart wants and you can afford it now. Most of our first homes are not going to be the homes we live in forever. You know that?
True.
You know how many times I've moved homes since I left my mother's house? Probably 10 times.
What?
I kid you not. In my In my first marriage, I'll get married again. In my first marriage, we moved a lot because we bought homes a lot.
Okay.
So we'd stay in a house 3 months, rent it out, move on, buy another one. Stay 3 months, move, buy another
Was
one.
that a business play or you'd get bored?
No. We are not bored. We're buying property. How can you be bored on top of making...
Bored of the house.
No. We are not bored of the house. We want another one.
All right.
Also, I see how that... For me, I'm not attached to property. Literally, I'm not attached. I can move anytime. But that's what allows you to be a focused person in the business or the vocation that you're doing.
All right. So let's talk to, it's a misconception in a way. People who are afraid to get into property because they feel there is a risk that they are not aware of.
Why do they buy homes if they're afraid? Most people who say they're afraid,
They're renting.
They own homes.
Some are renting, and some will buy their house without the mindset of having a business behind it, cash flow behind it.
It's okay. What I'm saying is, you're asking me why are people afraid? Afraid people are afraid of everything. I cannot answer why people are afraid to buy a home. There are people that will be afraid of anything and everything. The same people are afraid to start businesses.
True.
They're afraid to start a side hustle.
Some even to get a promotion.
They're afraid to even express themselves. You see, not a lot of people can go to platform and express themselves freely. Why? You ask. They're afraid. What are they afraid of? I don't know.
What?
People just choose to be afraid. Right. But let's say maybe perhaps they're afraid because they don't have access to information. Can you imagine? I was raised by a single parent. Right. My parents separated when I was 8 months old. Can you imagine if my mother was afraid to buy a home for herself when interest rates were still low? I saw the thing she bought for 55,000, man. In 1990. Probably now it's worth 900, 950. It's got rooms, probably it's worth 1.4 million. We've never checked the value. But in the area where it is, there are homes I've seen going up for sale, 1.2 million.
Okay.
But she bought it for 55,000. Can you imagine if the woman, who's my mother, who's now late, who had 4 kids at the time, it was my sister, my brother, me, my younger brother. I'm the third born. Right? So imagine if she said, I'm afraid I'm going to rent forever. How does that make sense?
And many people are there already.
Why aren't you afraid of renting? Let me ask. Why aren't they afraid of renting?
Maybe it would be, I don't carry levies and all these other things.
Yeah, but you must be afraid of being kicked out at any time.
Which is worse.
Anyone can be afraid of anything. Do you understand the psychology behind it?
Yeah.
I'm afraid of owning a home. Why aren't you afraid of not owning a home?
Because there's risk both way, and why are you choosing this one?
There are risks. There are risks associated with owning a home, and there are advantages associated with owning a home. There are risks associated with not owning a home, and there are advantages associated with not owning a home. Right? Like I said in the beginning, when you own a home, you're building up equity. You can use the equity to invest in the business, or to pay up your debts, or to buy a car. It doesn't necessarily, you said not everything is about business, for instance.
True.
Right? But maybe perhaps you have equity enough for you not to go to the bank to finance a car, because you can release equity from your home and buy a car cash. Those are the advantages. When you are renting, which equity are you going to release? And what are the chances that you can save up for a car? What are the chances that you can look at how much you are paying for rent and simultaneously take X amount of money, put it away for 5 years to buy a car cash? But automatically, when you've got a home that you've bought, if the area is growing in value, which most of the time it is, and depending on first, remember there are 2 ways to appreciate the property. Don't get me started. Right? There's natural appreciation.
Yeah.
But there's also forced appreciation. What is forced appreciation? You've bought this home, right? And then you say, let's make the kitchen better than we found it. Let's make the bedrooms better than we found them. Let's put cupboards, wardrobes that are nice. Let's change the bathroom. Let's make it nicer. As long as you don't over-capitalize on the home, you give it enough value for it to appreciate. Especially, so when we were starting, we would buy the ugliest house in the street.
Okay.
The reason and the psychology behind that is that the ugliest house on the street is the less valued on paper because it's ugly, right? And obviously because not many people want to buy it. However, because it's ugly, when you renovate it, it matches the area value automatically and sometimes surpasses the value of the area. Then you get to sell it for more than you bought it. Because ugly also means cheaper.
It means you have power to negotiate more.
You have power to negotiate more. You can buy the property below market value. Then you renovate it to match the area. The value of the area now also determines how properties are bought and sold.
Beautiful.
The buyer and seller market as well. When negotiation, things like supply and demand, things like how much does this person desire the property, also determine how much they're going to pay for it.
True. Especially after you've done some work on it.
Yes.
If someone listens to you now and says, all right, Witness, I'm working, I've got the salary. It's not as great, but it's there. How do I get started? What should I be thinking about?
Maybe you must expand the question a bit. Because
I want to be that woman, that woman that you talked about.
Yes, but you see that woman, listen, it's more like she read, right? She read the book. But it could be someone is listening to the podcast. It doesn't matter how much information you have. You're not going to start. If you're not a starter, you're not a starter. We're not going to force you. I always tell you this. No one is going to force anyone to do anything but to. And by the way, I'm not giving anyone advice. I'm just talking based on what I know. I'm not here to advise anyone.
Yeah.
Right? And I know what you're trying to get me to do. What should people do? They must do what their heart tells them to do. Simple. Because one person could be listening to this information.
Yeah.
Take action. Another person will be listening to this information and say, we are paid. So I'm not really bothered about.
And you get a lot of those.
Yes, I'm not. I told you, coach, I'm not bothered about who starts and who doesn't start. I'm looking for people who want to start. And a person who wants to start, it doesn't matter whether they are nudged or not. They want to start. That's where my thinking is. I'm for the people who are for growth and progress. And people who've got growth mindset and progress mindset are going to start anyway. So I'm coming from that perspective to say, if you are young, you get a payslip. Your payslip is power. You know that even some entrepreneurs, they can't get funding because they don't have payslip.
True.
They can't get a loan from the bank because they don't have a payslip.
Income is not stable.
It's not stable. You have a payslip. You are starting at 22. The worst thing you can do is go and buy yourself an entry-level car or a nice car. What have you done? You've reduced your disposable income by doing that. By reducing your disposable income, it means now if you want to add a property or vending machine business or any other business you want to do, it's difficult for the bank to now give you the money because you've added a repayment on that payslip of yours, or that bank statement of yours. However, if you are a guy and you decide that I'm not going to do it that way, I'm going to take my payslip while it's still fresh, and I'm going to go and apply for a property and put back rooms if you're doing that. Or I'm going to apply for a property for me to live in because I don't want to pay rent. However, I've got the understanding that I'm building up equity in my home. I've also got the understanding that it's growing in value. And I can later refinance whatever repayments I've made over the years to take that and start my business so that I can buy any car I want, or to refinance and take that and buy a car cash. All this thing is about a person's mindset. I meet you where you are.
And then we continue from there.
It doesn't matter how much knowledge you get. If you're not a person who starts things, and you know yourself, right?
Yeah.
You know yourself. We all know ourselves. When you are not a self-motivated person, you are not. When you are not a person who takes action, you are not. The problem is us saying, no, if a person doesn't know what to do in this day and age. In this day and age, coach, where our mothers bought properties with no knowledge and no internet and no books, in apartheid, when you are busy telling us that I don't have access to information, but you are here on your phone every single day. The very same people are the ones who swear at us on social media. But you know nothing, bruh.
And you have...
But you have the guts to swear at us. And we have been taking action, by the way. And us, this information we are sharing, we don't benefit anything. I don't benefit anything from sitting
the
here.
sharing.
In fact, sitting here costs me something. I could be in my business there, running my company, making money. I'm sitting here, I'm sharing info. And someone will interpret it as, why bazenza ngathi bayaz siyazi vele. Asizenzi ngathi siyazi. There's a difference. We're not acting like we know. We know what we are talking about. One, we've done it. Two, we've gotten other people to do it. Three, thousands of other people are doing it. And for me, also, it's not even about, the reason I say it's more than just money, right? You don't necessarily, can you imagine the peace of mind that comes with you owning a home for your kids? Let's talk quality of life. An environment where you raise your kids, where there's stability, emotionally, mentally, physical protection that you've provided for your kids. And someone will say, no, why are you telling people to do that? What must I tell them? To go drink their money?
Which many do.
Which many do. What's better? For you to drink your money every weekend, or for you to know I've got a bond to pay? What's better?
Choose your pain.
In actual fact, right, I was speaking to one of my mentors in Botswana, and I was saying to him, no, we're selling some of our assets, right? And he got worried, why are you selling? And I'm like, no, there's a project we're working on. We're reinvesting everything back into that project. Then he says to me, Witness, I don't like dead money. Money that's just sitting around in the bank. When you don't have a plan for your salary, your desires are going to have a plan for it. Because it's dead money that comes into the account, but it doesn't have a plan. A plan like what? A plan like business, vending machines, property that I'm paying on a monthly basis. It's committed payment. But you know for a fact that that's not dead capital. If I decide to sell this thing, I get my money back. Right? And then you get other people. I know there are people who've bought properties, right? And they didn't make money from them.
Yeah.
And Hashem, you know what they do? The problem is that somebody goes to a multi-density property, high-density property. What I mean by high-density is that, see these places where they build a lot of flats or apartments, 1,000 units, 500 units, and you buy 1 unit there. How many people do you have to compete with for tenants? 1,000 people, 500 people. And then you come and say property doesn't work. No, you have an economics issue. You don't know how to determine supply and demand. Because you need to be able to understand that if I buy in a place that is high density, there's a lot of people that are also buying there, which means there's a lot of people I'm going to be competing with for the same tenant. Even if you try and convert that thing into an Airbnb, how many other people are converting it into an Airbnb? And how many other people are going to be competing with you, taking down prices? And there you are also competing with people who buy off plan. A guy will buy 100 of those things. He can afford to reduce the price because he got it on discount, that property. The more you buy anything, obviously the easier it is
The cheaper
to
it gets,
negotiate any discount, right? So a guy is buying bulk. He's buying 10, he's buying 50, he's buying 100. Then he negotiates the price down. You buying one, high rate. You are competing with that guy for tenants. And you've got 5 of his apartments around you. He's reducing the prices. You can't reduce the price because you've got a bond to pay. You've got utilities to pay. You've got levies to pay. Of course, you're going to come back and say property investing does not work. It's not that it didn't work. You didn't understand that property investing, just like any other business, requires you to have the knowledge of supply and demand and market analysis.
Check
It's
the
economics.
numbers.
All of that is economics. No business runs without economics. No country runs without economics. So you can't be an exception. Conversely or inversely, you can, however, find yourself a 20-unit development, a 50-unit development, even if it's for you to live in. 20-unit development, 50-unit development, especially if you understand that later you want to convert and be a business person. You're only competing with 20 people. What are the chances that all of them are going to rent them out? Very slim.
True.
So maybe 2 or 3 of you are going to decide to rent out these units. Who are you competing with? 3 people.
3 people.
For how many tenants? A wide range of tenants that want to live in a nice, secure, nice apartment or house in a 20-unit development or a 50-unit development. What is that? The capacity to place yourself in a position where you win despite what's going on in the economy.
Can you think of another mistake that people make when they're getting into property investing?
Another mistake that people make, let me tell you, right? Let's say, I'll give you this example. This one is not when they are getting in. They've gotten in. They've bought the property.
Okay.
Now they can't afford it. And the bank wants to take it. And the bank wants to take it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe because the income you are earning is no longer the same, or you are...
Circumstances
have changed. What guys do, because they've got this emotional attachment to that house, they hold on to it, hoping things are going to change. Then it gets repossessed and auctioned. Why? Because of your emotions. What do you need to do? You must sell this thing before it gets auctioned. Because once it gets auctioned, it's about the bidder. It's not about you lose. Yeah. It's about the bidder. However, if you decide, I'm realizing I've lost my job, or I've lost my business, or my income is no longer the same. I've got this asset. I've tried to rent it out. Perhaps could be the first thing. Go live in a cheaper place. Rent that one out. Could be multiple units. Could be Airbnb. Can play around with it. Now it's you learning another skill of making money while you are renting a cheaper house or a cheaper apartment. You've moved from the other one, you're in a cheaper one, and you're saying, oh, these rooms, let's play around. Airbnb. You are making money now in different ways. But what do people do? They want to hold on to that thing
until it's sold.
Not until it's sold, until it's repossessed. There's a difference between selling something and it being repossessed. So you've got capacity when you lose your job to say, let me put it up on the market and see how much I'm going to get. Then I can take my money, take a breather, go rent somewhere, right? And then use that money to now figure out what sort of things or businesses I can invest in so that my family can continue to have a supply. What is that supply? A cash flowing into their lives.
Okay. That's powerful. If someone says, all right, so this is deep and quite some good stuff, I'm glad I did this one. See, this was some free coaching.
Yeah, and you know people don't value free things. Next time, they must all gather some funds and pay me to come talk to
you. Nice one. Finding the right property. How do I find the right property for me? What sort of things should I be considering to make that decision in general?
Obviously, there's no such thing as right or wrong property. Any property could be used for anything. You see, like, for instance, I'll give you an example. Someone will say, no, I bought a property in the township. It's wrong, because maybe you want to stay there, right? It's noisy. But for someone who says, I'm turning this thing into a tavern, can you see it's a good place?
It's a very good one.
It all depends, right? Do you want to live in it? Do you want to rent it out? Do you want a business? If so, what sort of business? That's why in property we say location, location, location. There's a location for everything. Like now, like my mother's property now, it's a good place to do business. I kid you not. For anyone who either wants to have a doctor's quarters, a pharmacy, or sell some stuff, that corner is busy. There's even a shop there.
Okay.
Right? But is it somewhere I want to live?
I get you.
No, I don't want to live there. Like, I really don't want to live there. Not because it's home, but because I really don't want to live there. Right? But can we do business and operate there in different ways?
Definitely.
Of course we can. Why? The location allows. So, for every property, you look at what am I intending to do with it. It's about the intention more than whether it's good or bad. If you are doing Airbnb, obviously don't go buy a property in the township. Why are you buying it? You need an area where people will see it as a tourist location, where if I'm traveling for business, it's easier for me to drive from the airport to your place. Easy access, convenience, accessibility, all of those things. Right? For your family, what do you want? You want safety, great environment, convenience, easy access to schools, easy access to job, quiet, no taverns, no morgues or mortuaries, all of those things.
Okay.
You want quietness. You're buying peace of mind. And you're buying it as though you're going to sell it. Don't fall in love with the property. Don't. Do not fall in love with the property you want to buy. It creates emotional attachment. When you need to get rid of it, you're going to have a problem. I said I've moved 10 times. You think I miss any of the places I've stayed? I don't miss any of them. I've passed. I don't miss staying anywhere I've stayed before. Do I have good memories? Of course, I've got good memories of the place. But I look at them, I'm like, no matter how good the memories are in those places, none of them were my dream house.
Okay.
Chances are your first house is not your dream house. I don't care what you say. Even my mother's house, Shem, it was not her dream house.
Even your first car, actually.
It's not your. You'll say it's your dream car because you don't afford the real one, the one you really want. That's why you call that one your dream one. And perhaps that's why I say, let me not get into cars. It's okay. Let's leave it. Let's leave the car. Yeah, but we can talk about the cars.
It's good.
For me, I growing up, you know, when people have dream cars, I had this particular dream car. But you know, when I could afford to buy it, I no longer saw it as a dream car. In fact, I no longer saw it as something I must buy, because after I drive it, 3-4 years, the new one has come up. Then I realized this thing is useless, man. It's like, you see how many iPhones I have here? One is better than the other. But no matter how much this one is better than the other, another one is going to come next year. This year, October, iPhone 16 is going to come. My 15 becomes old. So, it's a thing about dream what? Dream car. You are always going to be chasing the wind, my man. You'll never be happy if your happiness is tied to you driving the next better car. Because as soon as you drive it, when you drove your car, the one you drive now, do you remember how happy you were the first day?
The first time?
Yeah. Are you still happy?
No.
You're not happy anymore. Why? It's still the same car. Did you not like it when you bought it? No, just be happy. If your happiness is tied to things and people, it's external.
And I guess it helps when you've got other more important goals out there
You know,
than the car. Because for some people, that's the goal. You don't have anything bigger than that.
then your dreams are small.
That's the problem. you
Why
see.
did I hesitate saying that? I don't want to hit their face. Let me tell them straight. If your goal is just to drive a certain car, your dreams are small. There, I said it. You know why? Why I'm saying it? When you reach that point, man, you realize really that that thing doesn't change your happiness much. Honestly. Honestly. Like, I've bought what they say is dream cars or whatever in the past. And I've seen. Day one. Oh.
You want to meet a few people.
But if I've invested in a property and it's producing cash flow, hey, my man, the level of happiness, even when the drain is blocked, for me, if it's cash flow positive,
Because it keeps giving.
I love that word. You give yourself to things that are able to give themselves back to you. What do I mean by that? If I give myself to a car, you think that thing is going to give me anything back? That thing is like a woman who's just taking without reciprocating.
I have no comments.
No, but it's the truth. It's like
Yeah, no, I
someone
get you. I get
or a
where you're
man,
coming from.
man or woman, someone who's taking from you without reciprocating. How much longer can you continue to give without you losing the happiness?
It gets
Right.
frustrating.
So when you know what to invest in, what to give yourself to, you know for a fact that there will be a return. I said to you that this platform of yours,
yeah,
you've given yourself to it without it even giving you a cent.
true.
But the time will come where the platform must do for you more than you've done for it. Where you come here and it's so joyous. But
Is
the
that a
amount of
prophecy?
money, it's not. Some
I
things don't need.
receive, Papa.
It's a prophet. It's a prophecy. But you know, prophecy is very practical.
Yeah, true.
And a prophet must confirm what you already know. Now we're getting into the Bible.
We're going
You know, when a prophecy comes, most of the time, already God has said something to you.
to you, yeah.
Like when a guy comes to me and says, I had a prophecy, you're going to speak international. Chief, I know. I know. It's only a matter of time, man.
You know, my mind is going to these funny other fake ones where the prophecy is that car of yours, God says you must give it to me.
Or where they hit you
Anyway.
with your prophecy and you clean out the entire bank account to
whole
give it to
salary.
someone else.
Yeah,
But those
anyway.
things exist because individuals are not whole and they don't know God for themselves. No one can tell me anything. And I know my God for myself. Now, for you, you might say his concept of God is wrong. It's fine. Do yours that is right and leave me alone. I don't bother anyone. I'm focused on giving myself to things that I know for a fact they are later going to give themselves back to me. It's a guarantee. If I give myself to a vocation, a skill, a business, a property, a career, the amount of reaping that's going to come from that cannot be unmatched by anything right now.
Beautiful. I'll ask you 2 questions. I'll just pick up a chapter from your book.
Yeah.
And one that many people will be wondering, how do you do this? How do you manage to post every day? Because you are consistent on another level and you've been at this, it's nearly 4 years now and non-stop in 4 years. How do you do it? The consistency.
I think, are you talking about social media
Social
posting?
media.
Something has to matter to you. Right? And for me, because I've seen that there are people who say their lives have been changed by my work, I've attached a level of importance to what I do mentally. Now it's no longer about me. It's no longer about how I feel. It's about the people that I can potentially change for the better. Na or mina. For me, my life no longer belongs to me. You know it belongs to? My purpose. And my purpose is not posty. It's bigger than that. But every other small thing that I do contributes to the big purpose.
This ties into what I wanted to, the two things I wanted to pick up from your book. One is you attract who you are.
Chief, when all the people around you are terrible, there must be something about you that is terrible.
You are the people around me.
So I'm saying, if
I get you.
the people around you, I'm not saying you specifically, right? They are a reflection of who you are. If they lie to you, connive, do all those things, search, why do you attract people like that? You and I are connected based on mindset, nothing else. We are age apart. What connects us? It's our mindset, our willingness to try. We're trying out new things, different businesses, impacting lives.
True.
Why?
It's bigger than us at some level. And I think for me, I've realized that there are many people that are looking up to me and I didn't know, and I wasn't aware. And it hurts me when I look at Africa and where we are as a continent, not just one country, just as a continent. Where we are, and when you look at all the other continents, we are behind when we are supposed to be at least equal, because Africa has all the resources. Africa has the intelligence. I don't buy into that. Africa doesn't have the intelligence. We are not where we are supposed to be. And that hurts me. And when I see leaders getting in and looting, leaders getting in and doing all the stuff that you see happening, it breaks my heart, man. And the consequence becomes a lot of people having an entitlement mindset, a scarcity mindset, and they are just always used to complaining, just justifying where they are and stuff like that. I feel if I can touch 10, 20, 100 people, I've done my part.
Yeah.
Let's cap off. Why should someone buy this book? I know why, but I want to hear from you.
So this is a practical guide. You know, plenty of the principles that are shared in this book, people have heard them before, but they are articulated in the manner that is easy to understand. You know, to the point where whether you are a seasoned entrepreneur, CEO, or manager, or you are just someone who's starting out on your journey, the concepts that are in this book will help you to reinforce what you already know and teach it to your kids, or for you to start and grow a business, invest in property, or buy shares for yourself, while also building up the mindset that's required to start.
And it is required.
And I don't think you can read this book and remain the same. You know, one guy I met in Cape Town, he just came to me and said, I see you in Cape Town, I just want to shake your hand. Then he says to me, when are you going to fight with God? What do you mean I'm going to fight with God? Ario, for me, sometimes I struggle between reading the Bible and reading your book. I'm like, why would you struggle? He says to me, you know, I've got 3 Airbnbs here in Cape Town. I'm from Pretoria. I came to Cape Town to study. That's what the book has done for me. And I continue to be glued to it because I want to do more.
That's powerful, man.
But I love the fact that this is a man who took action. It means nothing if you read. I want people who read it to take action. If you're not going to take action, don't read it, don't buy it. If you're going to take action, buy it, read it, take the action. Give me the testimony. It keeps me going.
What do you have to say to those hundreds of thousands of people that are following you? Now, I'll give you an opportunity. There. As we cap off.
Keep going. It's not easy. I know sometimes when you see people like us, myself and other people that are doing their best to inspire others to get them to the next level, it seems easy. It's not. But it's doable. Challenges are going to come, but if you are determined, you'll be able to overcome them. Nothing works unless you do. There must be some work that you put in for things to work. For things to work, you've got to put in the work. And I'm going to leave you all with this quote. It says, the opportunity of a lifetime must be seized in the lifetime of that opportunity. What does that mean? Opportunity is a window. The heaven opens a window of opportunity on each and every one of us. But that window closes, just like you close the window at night. So have the capacity to see the times where you are in and what the opportunity is for you. If you are young now, you're not going to be young forever. Sometime later, you'll be old. And you don't want to look back on the opportunity of youth that you've missed and say, I'm unable to do certain things now because I'm old. The last one is that restlessness is discontent. And discontent is the first necessity for progress. Show me a thoroughly satisfied man, and I will show you a failure. Restlessness is discontent, and discontent is the first necessity for progress. Show me a thoroughly satisfied man, and I will show you a failure. Who's a thoroughly satisfied man? A man who's resting on his laurels and saying, there's nothing that I need to do. I've achieved all I have. If you've achieved all you have, understand that it's not about you. It's also about the people that you can impact if you do more. It's more than just money. All the best, guys. I wish you success.
It's more than just money. All the best. You love the brand, you love the work. You've done a movement around the book, so I'm incredibly proud of you. I got to see your work at Witbank. That was some amazing stuff. Long may it continue, and we will continue to enjoy just popping in and supporting you. This is the book. It's more than just money. It's available on Takealot. It's available on Amazon. It is available on witnessmdaka.com, the website. The brother talks business property shares. Today we had a chat about property investing. There is so much more. So look him up if you haven't already. Look him up and remember to like the episode, share the episode. You will know someone who needs to listen to it. But we grow because of what you do. Thank you.